would you summarize how your guys were able to pull that one off today?
Just with what we were lacking last Saturday with grit. I mean, it really didn't even make any sense, to be honest with you. And maybe they could have had the same narrative if they were able to win. Maybe that storylines, they did it at home. But for us, I don't know, you could argue we played good baseball. Now, again, part of it is the competition you're playing. We're playing in a new environment as far as the field goes, but just kind of gritted and gutted our way through the whole thing, and it worked out the right way.
Your program's never lacked grit. So when you have what you had last weekend, how does that change from one weekend to the next? Does last weekend just serve as a wake-up call?
A reminder. I don't think it was a wake-up call. I think a reminder. And it's not like our guys didn't compete. We kind of already talked about Lampkin threw well. Moss is a really good arm, and we just didn't play good ball in the second game. But to be honest with you, we didn't play that good a ball this weekend at all. There's plenty of things today we could have done better at the plate, even though we scored a lot of runs. Pitching decisions could be better. Pitching could be better. Defense certainly could be better. And then even base running might have cost us a run earlier in there. But these are college kids, man. They're going to make mistakes. And I get it if you're watching at home, and maybe my mind should just be on our team. But if you're watching at home, it can be frustrating. No one wants to see mistakes made where it looks like guys aren't fundamental or we're not coached well, we're not communicating. But you're always going to be in a hostile environment in the SEC on the road, and sometimes emotions can take over. And then again, too, with college kids, they're going to make mistakes. A lot of times it's who makes fewer mistakes in the game. And then, with all due respect to them, maybe today wasn't about mistakes. Maybe it was just about finding a way, and we were able to do it.
What did you see from Bargo and Chapman there in the ninth? The walk
just really good presence. I mean, those are two guys, just to be fair, last year at times, I think were pressing and then changing personality and doubting themselves. And I don't know what the numbers look like right now for both of them, but both of them are incredibly consistent with their approach and their presence at the park every day. Bargo decided to switch on the positivity communication switch at one point. Further back in history, Reese just decided that, this is his year, this is his team, that's his spot out there. He's going to be in the lineup and just go play ball and walk around like you own it. So both those guys have set example because, the new guys are doing what new guys probably do. Kind of, it's up to us to put them in a position to succeed, but there'll be trials and tribulations. And then some of the older guys too, new guys can learn from them obviously, but some of the older guys need to rely on that too. So it's not kind of a split personality almost deal that you're working with our position players and pitchers. Again, knowing what we get, if we get out there and we get beat, great. But it'd be nice to see some consistency like those two have.
What'd you see from Peebles to get going today?
Just playing, I won't say law percentages, but just being out there and, I'd like to involve both those guys. Stone will be back there Tuesday. There's situations where he could have helped us defensively or offensively, but it's kind of what we decided to do. And, based on accumulation of reps and being out there, maybe he wore himself out a little bit and just played. It's kind of like Krenzel did to Foley. He did it last week at South Carolina when a pitcher's stuff, isn't quite there as it was when they first came out of the bullpen. They tend to just pitch a little bit and relax. And I think Peebles just kind of relaxed and played a little bit and looked more to himself.
What did you see from your what stands out when you think about your pitchers? I guess we could talk for quite a while about them, but what stands out when you think back?
Yeah, that Snead was, he gets emotional out there, which is great, but for the most part, he's come a long way and kept that all under control. And I can't be inside of his head, but I think the one thing about him, you're always going to get some resiliency. He's always going to want to push forward or come back if it's not well, or stay on the momentum train if it is going well. Deloy just didn't have a great weekend here at all, the way he threw the ball, which, put the antennas up, and as a good competitor, you'd like to think the next go-around is going to be more determined and it's going to be better. But we were able to use him in some spots, and it's not like he didn't go without outs. But on the whole, I think the group, Liam was on another level, but I think the group really did well considering the circumstances. Wind blowing out, the ground gets really hard, and we made some defensive mistakes. So there's areas to get better, but for the most part, those guys carried their weight.
Fisher was really productive despite all the noise this weekend. What do you think allows him to do that? What did you see from him this weekend?
I think he's just really comfortable in his own skin. So same thing. I mean, Bargo and Reese are certainly going to go about it a different way than Fish does, but I think he's really comfortable in his own skin, and he takes ownership of the box when he's up there. And now he's on the other side. I'd be like them too. I didn't like him last year. As a matter of fact, maybe it could be somebody in this room, but maybe somebody popped off, or sometimes you like to say stuff in the dugout and you hope it doesn't get out there, but he is so comfortable in his own skin, it's aggravating if you're not on his team. So when he is, you love him and you know he's going to compete for the team. All you got to do is look at the adjustments he's made with 2 strikes and using the whole field, and the way he's taken over that position at first base has been incredible, because in pro ball, third base is his spot too. So I get the yelling. You could tell people really like Liam. They enjoyed watching him compete. Their most dangerous guy all weekend was at Kentucky last year. So we could go on with our history too. I don't like it. It's part of the deal. And all I want every year when we come to work is a bunch of guys that want to be at our place. And if they don't, that's fine. That's just the world we live in now. And if you're a Vol football fan, just watch the movie Friday.
I got 2 more quick ones for you. How concerned are you with the defense leaving this weekend?
It was choppy out there, and I think our guys need to stay off their heels. I think it relates to offense too. Even dating back to, we did so well against Prager, but there was at-bats that were glaring where guys were just a little passive. And there were some great fights last night in UFC, and the one thing I assume you can't do if you're a boxer, if you're a fighter of any kind, you can't be on your heels. And maybe you're bouncing around, but the best place to be in a true battle is leaning forward. And I think defensively and offensively, there's been blips on the radar screen of guys being on their heels.
Do you feel like you learned anything about your team this weekend? Or do you feel like?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. We need to that we can beat. I mean, to come in this environment and like Alabama, and I guess we could dissect. A&M super loaded, but the road trip we went to Alabama, I feel the same way. These guys are a true Omaha contender, and they had their biggest crowds of the year. Might have had their biggest regular season crowd ever. So for us to not play well and win, it checks a box that they need to take note of. If they prepare well and they just compete, we can work our way into some wins. But at the same time, take confidence in the fact that we're still finding ourselves. And it's a different story than last year. And it's a story, you guys want to write it. I'm just hearing noise. You or fans or other teams even want to write this story like we're going to breeze through things or we're going to do this or that. And it wasn't easy last year to begin with, but last year's last year. This is a different team where we got to find ourselves. We got freshmen, we got guys in new roles, and yeah, we're halfway through the season and beyond, but we're just at the halfway point of SEC play. So we just need to keep getting better, and we'll march our way into May and see what we got.